Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello, welcome everybody. This is another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast with your host, Philip Ramsey. It's a solo cast today. It's just me. The reason why is because I feel like I just need to get something off my chest. It's just been something on my mind for a while, and I don't know exactly when it kind of formalized, but I knew that I had to just get on a podcast and just publicly almost apologize for the way that I've been leading in a very fearful manner. So let's talk through it. So I feel like this all started when I went on that trip to Switzerland and I climbed that mountain. And for those of you who are faithful listeners have heard about the Switzerland episode where I was super excited to climb this mountain with a friend of mine. And throughout the whole time, I was like, I just love taking personal risk. And one of the things that I took away from that was because it just doesn't affect anybody else. Like, it's just me. It's my motivation. If I fall, it's on me. It doesn't really affect anybody else. And it was like, I remember having this specific thought about 30 minutes later after I was climbing this mountain. It was like God slapped me upon the head. It was like, you foolish man. Like, if you fall, this affects your family. It affects your business. It affects your clients. It affects your friends. And it definitely affects your wife. And so all of this stuff is interconnected. And I think I've said this in past episodes, but in 2024, it was just kind of like a hang on year. It was this like, things have changed. I bought out Brian, and I just felt like I kind of went into this fearful mindset. And I wasn't living in this like uncommon space where I feel like I coach people daily on, hey, invest in yourself. You can do this. Push yourself. Watch what happens. All these things that the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, all the Uncommon, I think, brand, and then the clientele are all like known and excited to push into. And one that I'm supposed to be leading, I wasn't taking my own advice. So I don't know what the hesitation was, if I was just fearful or if I was tired. But for whatever reason, 2024 was just this season of mine of just not living in an uncommon space, I guess. And yet I was coaching people to do it. So you could call it the imposter syndrome. You could call it, I don't know. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But I know that I wasn't leading by example and taking my own advice, which was, no, go invest in yourself. Take a step off this bridge, watch what the parachute will do, and see what the byproduct of that is, which I love saying that. And I was in a meeting yesterday with an individual who's 60, and he's like, I want to start a new venture in my life. And I got so pumped for this individual. And he's like, I'm nervous. I just need somebody to give me permission to say I can do it. And I was like, I'm there. I'm giving you permission. Like, what do you need from me? And yet, for 2024, I just wasn't doing that. And so this is my podcast to just say, hey, I wasn't living in a leadership manner where I want to be the tip of this iceberg. I want to be not only the spokesman for it, but I want to be genuinely, authentically doing this in my own practice. Because what I've seen is so many people have learned and are constantly learning and seeing the byproduct of them investing in themselves. So that's really this whole kind of context of this podcast is sometimes you just need to admit it for whatever reason. And what are you going to do about moving forward? You're in a complacent state. What is the perspective that you need to take? What is kind of the mindset you need to take? And how are you going to move yourself out of this place where you're like, this isn't the most healthy place for me, especially if I'm supposed to be the host, the spokesman for this uncommon journey and this uncommon life. So there it is. There's kind of my confession. And like I said before, it took a couple, I felt this kind of like pressing for a while. And this is the first time I was like, I just got to talk about it. I got to let my listeners know, like, I was not doing that with my own practice and myself. And we're going to change the focal point on 2025. So I wanted to at least record this early in 2025. When I'm recording it is January or like middle January. But I think when it's going to get recorded, it might be February of some time. But at least you guys know this is what's going on in my heart, and I wonder if could be going on in other people's heart, and this is kind of how I'm kind of working my way out of this. So, one, I was super grateful that I had that moment in Switzerland on that mountain where I kind of had this epiphany of like, it's all interconnected to to me. That's good and that's bad. Honestly, I don't think anything matters to me. It's all God's. He can do whatever he wants with it, but in early 2024, I got to do an opportunity with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 businesses. And one of the things in the modules, they call it, I think it was like 10 to 12 weeks, they wanted you to like reflect on what could be the possibilities of your business. And in all honesty, I never knew what it could be. Maybe it was the season I was in, but I came out of that whole program with 0 goals. And that was like the big crux. You're supposed to do this end all like presentation of what are you going to do? What's your business going to be like? Kind of cast a vision. And I got up there and I was like, I got nothing. So that was like my mindset. And then after that Switzerland thing, and then the Grand Canyon debacle with my buddies that didn't go well, I was thinking, man, I love pushing myself and I love learning. Even when it doesn't go according to plan, I still feel like I'm a better person because of it. And yet I still struggle to do that into my business. So I feel like I've missed just a whole year and a half of my life of just kind of in this really deep, dense fog. And I don't know how to get out of it. And so just recently I was like, what would I advise other people to do? And I was thinking I would ask for a coach or a mentor to help me get out of this rut. So that's what I've done. We've hired somebody here at Uncommon Wealth to be able to cast a vision, something that maybe that I don't feel like I can do right now. And I don't want to wait for the time until I'm healthy enough to get to that point where like, all right, now we're going to do it. Because I feel like just time is ticking away. Now, again, it's a year and a half. So really, is it that much time? Yes and no. I think it is for me. It might not be for you. It might not be in the grand scheme of things. But for me, it's a big deal. And for me to be able to step out into the comfort zone of my comfort zone and get to the point where I feel like I know exactly what I need to do, I don't know when that's going to be. And so I'm just going to take my own advice and I'm going to ask somebody else to help me. And that's what I've done. So my vow in 2025 is not only step into this like uncommon space, just like you guys are, just like I'm counseling other people to do, but I want to do that with my own practice. I want to take different risks that are calculated, right? But that will take our business to the next level. Because in the last year and a half, I feel like not only have I failed myself, but I feel like we could have been interacting with more people that needed this uncommon philosophy. So that's kind of my thoughts. And you could either resonate with this or be like, this guy's out of his mind. But I have definitely interacted with a coach. I'm going to be paying him. We're going to be going through goals. We're going to be figuring out what in the business can we do different? What can we do better? How can we be uncommon in the process? Because that's something I refuse to do, is build a business that isn't uncommon. So, yeah, I'm dedicated for this. I'm dedicated to this brand. I'm dedicated to our clients. I'm dedicated to myself to be able to lead in such a way that feels authentic to me, but also to the brand, to the people the clients, to my friends, to my family. I want to be uncommon through and through. And in that, I need to invest in myself. I need to invest in people and in the way that just in a different way. So I hope you're inspired with this. I hope that you can get alongside of me. I hope that you're like shoulder to shoulder with me, because I am with you. And in those meetings where I get to encourage people to take a step off the bridge and watch their parachute open as they float down is amazing. And now I'm saying like, okay, but now I need to get up on that bridge and I need to jump off as well. And I've done it many times in my past, and I've seen God completely faithful in that. And even if he isn't, then that's okay too. But it's time for me to get up on the bridge. It's time for me to take a step of faith. And it's exciting to be able to be on this journey with you. It's exciting for me to be able to be honest with you and try to figure out like, hey, what could I do different? And if I don't have the answers, maybe ask for somebody to help me. So you've been listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Philip Ramsey. I'm grateful to be able to lead this brand. I'm grateful to call myself uncommon, and I'm so thankful that you're here with me. Thanks for listening.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.